Okay, about the weights. Why weight is necessary? Why weight is necessary? So this, this weight is comes to the intermediate one. Now we are on that phase. We are learning about intermediate one. So I am expecting all of you that you know how to find the XPath, how to work or how to perform some actions on different web elements. Okay. So yeah, go ahead, Udit.
Wait is required, the specific action to be performed, or sometimes it is required to wait certain functionality to happen, or loading a page or particular element to get visible.
Okay, fine. Anybody else? Archita. See, we have been talking about this from the very first session of our Selenium WebDriver. Hello.
Yeah, so basically some actions takes time to load. Let's say in our website we have some feature that requires some time to load that. So
Particular element or the page.
Yeah.
Archita, do you want to add or say something?
No.
Okay, fine. So basically in WebDriver or in the Selenium WebDriver, WebDrivers are generally do not check the active state or the real-time state of the DOM. Or the DOM means of the proper of the page. So when we say the active state or the real-time state of the DOM, so it means that the element may be visible on the page, may not be visible, or it may not be clickable. It is present, but it may not be clickable, or we cannot perform any operations on this, or it is partially loaded. So in all these cases, we in these cases, if our WebDriver performs the any action before the element is in proper state, particular any element is in proper state, and before that our WebDriver executes some action, then we get the error. Mainly we get the error like no such element, or element is not clickable, or element is not visible. We get some exceptions, right? So all this comes with the experience only. How to use the weights, all this comes with the experience only. And as soon as you will get the different type of errors or exceptions, you will know that which type of weight I should use, which type of weight I should use in my code. Okay, this is the first thing. So basically you will have the idea कि भाई मुझे क्या use करना है, what I should use. You will know that there is something called weights, Selenium weights, which we can use in our project or even in our automation project. Okay. Hello.
Yes, Nidvesh.
So what I have said.
With the experience, we will learn how to use weight, right?
How to use weights. Correct. Yeah. With the experience, we will learn how we can use it.
Where actually need to apply weight, and certain times we need to apply just sleep. Certain of
Yes,
time that we
sometimes.
can learn with the
Mhm.
use of more.
Yes. Okay, so sorry to interrupt with it. So in Selenium, we have like two types of weight. First weight is the implicit weight, and the second weight is the explicit weight. Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
First is the implicit weight, and second is the explicit weight. Let me type it over here. Selenium weights. Implicit weight. Second is the explicit. And there's one more weight, fluent weight. This fluent weight is the complex one, right? So first you use this two. When you become expert in this, use this one, fluent weight. Okay. So this is called the advanced type of weight, fluent weight. But let's not jump on to that. Focus on these two weights. So implicit weight is the weight which is applicable for all the web elements, in the page. Sorry. What I've said. Okay. Implicit weight is the type of weight which is applicable for all the elements of a page. It means that our WebDriver will wait for the certain duration, when trying to find any element in the page. So implicit, should I repeat this about the implicit weight? Hello.
Yes, if you repeat, that would be great.
Okay. So implicit weight is applicable for all the, or yes, implicit weight is applicable for all the pages, for all the web element or all the elements of a particular page. Let's say, for example, we have opened this page. So implicit weight is applicable on all these web elements, like this menu progress bar, demo home link, this table, this menu, this button, everything, input element and everything, right? It's applicable on each of the element. Now, in more detail, when we use the implicit weight, the WebDriver will wait for certain duration, or the for the given timeout, or the defined timeout in our script. Why it will wait? It will wait for the expected element, or the element which we are trying to find, to be in the proper state. So either it is in the visible or the clickable or whatsoever, enabled or disabled. Okay. So basically, implicit wait is applicable for all the web elements, and when our script is executing, and when there is a statement driver.find element, and if implicit wait is defined, then WebDriver wait will pause for some second. If in that statement, driver.find element statement, whatever the web element Selenium WebDriver is trying to find is not available at that moment. So it will wait for the time or duration defined in the implicit wait. Got it? No. नहीं पता चला. Let's take the practical example of this. Okay. So in our case, we have this, right? Pop-up is not displayed. We have to wait for some time for the pop-up to be displayed. Correct?
Correct.
So what we can do, we can define the wait at the page level or at the class level. At the page level or at the script level, right? So this implicit wait is applicable. Sorry, this implicit wait is applied, not applicable, applied on all the web elements. So as soon as we launch the URL, we perform this driver.get URL, we write this driver.manage dot driver.manage dot timeout and dot. Here you can see implicitly wait. That let's say I rewrite this fun. But you can see this is throwing an error. Why this is showing a red line? Because this method is deprecated. This method was this is the syntax from Selenium 3 point something, and we are practicing Selenium 4. So in Selenium 4, you don't have to define in this manner. You have to pass the argument which you have to pass. It should be of duration. So first write down the duration dot of seconds. We want to wait in the seconds, like wait for 5 seconds. Okay, this is one way. This is one way for the implicit wait, and this is the one and only way for the implicit wait. Okay, so when I said the 5 seconds, so here we haven't added the thread.slip. We have removed, we have commented this, but let's see that if our code is successfully executed or not. Okay, ideally it should wait for maximum 5 seconds for this for that loader to be displayed and perform some actions. Output dikha. We have removed that thread.slip. Initially we were, so let's do this. Observe the time it takes to execute the script. ये आया, उसके बाद भी script was stopped. Okay, when we have used thread.slip, and here we have used duration of seconds. How many seconds we have given? 5 seconds. Let's say 10 seconds minimum.
But
example,
it will not impact once our whatever we element is visible, then it will directly continue with the code execution, right? It will not wait exactly
Yes,
10 seconds.
yes,
Maximum
that
it will
is,
wait for
yes,
10 seconds.
correct. That is my point. So so this duration of second, it means that it will, as Udit has said as well, that this WebDriver will wait for maximum of 10 seconds or maximum of the timeout which we have defined in the implicit wait. So let's say if that element, if the WebDriver finds that element at the third second, then it will perform the required operation, whatever is written in the script, and then it will move ahead. Okay, so it's not like that it will wait for 10 seconds. But here the important point is that that implicit wait is executed on each driver.find element statement. So it is executed at here as well, driver.find element, and it is executed inside this as well, because this implicit wait is linked with this browser instance. So once it is defined, so it is applicable to all the find elements operations using the same browser instance. Okay, so at this line as well it will be executed, at this line as well it will be executed. Okay, fine. Everyone clear?
Yes.
So one more time I'm executing this. Second wait is this is all about the implicit wait. Second wait is the explicit wait. As the name suggests, this it's the explicit wait. Explicit wait, it means that it will, or the Selenium WebDriver will wait for the particular element only in some specific conditions. Selenium WebDriver or the WebDriver will wait for the given element, for certain amount of time, and in that too it should match the given condition. When we say the given condition, it means that web element state, we check with the different state of the web element, like whether the web element is visible or is enabled or is clickable, this type of conditions, right? So for the same thing, for the same scenario, what we will do, we'll just remove this implicit wait and we'll define the explicit wait. How we can use the explicit wait? Okay, so for the explicit wait, we need to create the object. Explicit wait is used only for the specific element, right? So yeah, it is like that. For one element, we may need to wait for that element to be visible, and for the second element, we may have to wait for that element to be enabled or clickable. Okay, but we can define the explicit wait. Okay, so new. WebDriver wait new WebDriver wait, and here first thing is first, driver is required, and second is the duration we have to get of seconds. Sorry, 5. So both the weights, implicit weight and explicit weight, the common thing between this weights is that it waits for the maximum amount of time for the web element. It waits for the maximum amount of time. Implicit wait is executed or applied on each driver.find element statement, while explicit wait is applied on the for the given web element only, and to match the specific condition. So here we have not defined this, right? Let's first check the this one. We have removed the duration of seconds. We have removed the thread.split. So here we likely will get this. This element is not displayed or no such element. So that pop-up is displayed. So this got succeed. Okay. But there might be a case like this pop-up is not displayed. So in that case, what will happen? Our script will fail. Okay. So here we are making sure that Selenium WebDriver waits for that element to be displayed, and then it will perform the necessary action, and then it will go ahead. So we have defined the wait, explicit wait over here. We have defined it over here. Class layer 30%. So explicit wait dot until it means here we have to write down some condition until this condition is matched. So for the conditions we use expected conditions in this class dot. Here we can see that there are so many conditions are available, like which we can use. Alert is present. Some of the attribute contains like all the web elements have some attributes, right? So we can wait for that attribute to be present for that element, attribute to be or attribute value to be, DOM attribute to be, this element selection state to be, like whether it's ready or selectable or not, element to be clickable, then again you can see that there are two methods available, element to be clickable and same element to be clickable. In the first one we have to pass the by locator, and in the second one we have to pass the actual web element. So there could be a case where element is present. So mainly what happens in the web page is that first element is present or is available in the DOM, then it is visible, and then its state is set to clickable or not clickable. So a Selenium WebDriver, when this statement driver.find element is executed, it means that element is present in the DOM or element is displayed. Okay, mainly driver.find element, it means the element is present in the DOM. So there could be a case that your this statement driver.find element gets executed successfully, But when you perform dot click event, click action, it says you get some exception that element is not clickable. So in that case, we can use this explicit wait and check whether the element is clickable or visible or not. Okay. Similarly, we have the different other conditions as well. So here we are waiting for the pop-up to be visible. So what we will do, we will write the visibility of element located by which locator? Close pop-up. Okay, fine. If the same thing I've okay, this is what I want to write it down. This is the condition. Second condition, not the second condition, the second syntax is this, related to passing down the web element. So condition remains the same. Like expected condition. Till here everything is same. But when you write down for the specifically, we are talking about the visibility. In this one, it is just the visibility, and here we have to pass down the close pop-up, not the locator. We have given the same name. We just write it down this and this. Okay, so you can see the difference. Here it is the visibility of element located and it's the visible. So it's up to you. Either you are passing the locator or you are passing the actual web element. You can use any of them, right? So if here we have defined the locator in this manner, right? If we haven't defined in that manner, then again we have to write it down in this by dot id and few more brackets. So you have to remember that how many brackets you have open and how many you have to close, right? But we have simplified this, and from the start we are practicing to write or to define the element in this manner only, to define the locator in this manner only. Okay, so this is the practice you should follow. So yeah, we were talking about this visibility of element and this. Okay, done. Now, mainly explicit wait where you will be using is that you will need to use this when you have to wait for the particular element to be in specific state. As I've said, like when you have entered username and password and you have to wait for the login button to enable. This is one of the case. Or second case is that you have clicked on any of the button and then you get the loader. You do understand the loader, right? Or the progress bar, which we can which we see. So in that case, we can use the explicit wait. But for the loader, we will see, or for the loader we will have the separate session, and in that we will use the invisibility of the web element located explicit wait. Okay, so yeah, this is about the implicit wait and explicit wait. Okay, any doubt?
So normally we use implicit wait, right?
It's not necessary. So it's up to you. If your project, if you know that just defining the implicit wait will not do. So for example, it is like you have
So
defined the implicit wait.
if we are not waiting to element to get visible or particular functionality to get complete, In that case, implicit wait can help us to manage whatever
Yes, yes,
loading time we have, right?
yes.
And
We
if
can
we are
use it.
waiting particular condition to get fulfilled, in that case, explicit wait can help us.
Okay, so the main example would be like invisibility of element. So implicit wait, it is not like it is not for the invisible. It is not for the particular web element to get invisible, right? So when we have a loader, then we have to wait for that loader to be invisible. Then only we can perform the operation, right? So in that case, we cannot use the implicit wait. In that case, we have to use the explicit wait only with this condition. Yeah, we want this loader to be only perform some operation only after this loader is invisible. Okay, so in such a cases like in such a cases where you have defined the implicit wait at your project level and it is working as well, but there are some cases where you have to use explicit wait. I have told you one case in this manner. So it is the ideally implicit wait would do everything for you, but in some cases you need to use the explicit wait. So you cannot say at the start of the project that we will be using just implicit wait only, right? There are
Yeah,
conditions. There are
for particular
conditions.
page also we need to use explicit wait, right?
Yes. No, so explicit wait is not defined at the page level. Implicit wait is defined at the page level, or I would say instead of the page level, it is bind with the browser instance. So when you have linked it like driver.find element, driver.manage.time or dot implicit wait. So it is bind with that browser instance. So for uh, the number of pages, like we have opened 10 number of pages in the same browser instance, so it is applicable for all those 10 pages, right? While the explicit wait is limited to specific web element only under some conditions. So mainly the conditions which you use in the explicit wait is like you can wait for the alert to be present if you are dealing with the alerts, if element is present or not, if element is present or not, if element is visible or not, if element is visible or not, or you can check for the title if my page title is this or not. You can check for the element stillness. I'll talk about the element stillness more when we talk about the exception. You can check for the visible text. So these are some of the common expected conditions which you will use in the explicit way. Okay.
Okay, understood.
So as I've said that as you do practice with this, then only you will understand the use or you will understand the difference between implicit wait and explicit wait.
Okay.
This is very like tiny topic or very small topic, I would say, in the Selenium WebDriver, but this is very much important topic in terms of the use in terms of using this in your code, because we do not want to use this thread.slip. What thread.slip does, it holds the execution of your script. So nothing will be happening in the backend or at the compiler level. But what Selenium WebDriver what Wait does is that it stops the browser instance, or it tells the WebDriver to wait for some time, and if the condition is matched within that time, then it can go ahead. So basically, it is uh, in the back end, basically it is continuously checking for something. It is not stopped. In thread.slip, WebDriver is stopped. It's in the idle mode. It is doing nothing. While in the wait, it is continuously checks for something. Okay. So this is the main difference between thread to slip and the waits. So always use waits, because in waits, if the element is found within the defined duration, then WebDriver will pick that and it will proceed. While in thread or slip, it will definitely wait for the duration we have defined in the script. Okay? Fine. Fine, Jaydev?
Yes.
Okay, so chalo to. This is it for today's session. We'll catch tomorrow. But tomorrow we'll cover about the